Hello, my name is Jennifer, and today I'm going to be tasting Ayn Rand's favorite candy. Now, how do I know what Ayn Rand's favorite candy is? Well, I have read about this fact in a couple of places, a couple of books, but the first one that comes to mind is Leonard Peikoff mentions this fact in his essay, My 30 Years with Ayn Rand. He mentions Ayn Rand's favorite candy. Now, how much did she like this candy? I don't know. Maybe she just said it casually, but maybe she was really passionate about this specific candy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna taste it and rate it. But I'm also going to be sharing 5 things you might not know about Ayn Rand. Now, disclaimer, if you are a long-time Ayn Rand fan or a long-time objectivist, or you just know a lot about Ayn Rand, a lot of these facts are going to be old news to you, so I apologize. So this is a video meant more for people who don't know that much about Ayn Rand. Okay, so first I'm going to be tasting the and then I'm gonna give you the facts, or I might throw in one of the facts in between tasting it. I have my water here and my milk, almond milk for a palate cleanser, just in case it gets overwhelming. Anyways, it's time to reveal what Ayn Rand's favorite candy is. Some of you already know, obviously, so this will not be a surprise, but for those of you who don't know, this will be interesting. Ayn Rand's favorite candy was Godiva chocolates. I actually wanted to go to a Godiva chocolatier store and buy the chocolates from there, you know, be able to pick the most exotic ones. And I actually went to the store, to the mall, to do this because it said they were open. But once I got there, they were not open. The whole mall was closed. So that was a fail. I couldn't do that. So the next best thing was to order some of the chocolates. Here they are. It is 19 chocolates. So let me see. So apparently 3 pieces of chocolate is 160 calories. So there's more than 1,000 calories in this box. Well, I'm gonna try to just eat half of each chocolate so that it's not so bad on me. I mean, I love sugar, obviously. And I actually wish that Ayn Rand's favorite dessert was cake, because that's my favorite dessert, but I'm not gonna complain. Chocolate is pretty good. I have another grievance, actually. This box was $30 and there's 19 chocolates. I think that's excessive. I would say they should be like $1 each chocolate, so maybe $19 for the box. I mean, I'm a capitalist, but that's excessive. $30 for 19 chocolates. That's just my opinion. But maybe when I try them, I will be like, whoa, this is so good. It's totally worth the $30. So here they are. They look so good. So like I said earlier, or I don't actually know if I said it, I will be rating these chocolates to see which one's better, to see which one's my favorite. Okay, this is an almond praline raindrop. It's good. I wouldn't say it's special. Next, a dark ganache heart. I'm not gonna rate them yet. I'm gonna rate them at the end. The five best chocolates out of the box. I like that one more than the other one. Okay, this is a milk caramel embrace. Vanilla caramel luxuriously coated in milk chocolate. After this one, I'm gonna give you one of the fun facts. I like that one. Oh, anyways, I had said that I was going to wait until the end to give all the facts, but I think I'm gonna like pepper them through while I'm tasting the chocolates. This is one of like the most well-known facts about Ayn Rand, and it's the fact that she was a movie extra. I'm not sure if she was a movie extra in multiple productions, but I know for sure that she was a movie extra in Cecil B. DeMille's movie The King of Kings. I have a little screenshot right here, courtesy of, I don't know where I got it from. I'm sorry that I'm not crediting the source, but it's obviously from the movie, and that's Ayn Rand with her weird face. Okay, here's the thing. If you observe all the extras, they're looking one way because they're supposed to be, I think they're looking to the left, and Ayn Rand is looking dead on to the camera, or so it looks like. So that's a big no-no in the production film world, extra world. That's called spiking the camera, and it can ruin a shot because it's distracting when you're watching it, when all of the eyes are looking in one direction, but there's a set of eyes looking at you, the audience. So I don't know, maybe Ayn Rand was not the greatest of extras. Obviously, if you don't know the backstory, she ended up being an extra in that film because she wanted to be a script writer, and she had a meeting at a studio. She showed up, there was no one there to actually talk to her, and so when she was about to leave, she ran into Cecil B. DeMille, and he was like kind of like intrigued by her. They exchanged some words. She told him that she was interested in being a screenwriter, and he invited her to come to the set and look at how movies were made, and eventually she ended up being an extra in his movie, and eventually she ended up, writing scripts and whatever, but yeah, that's how it all started. Let's go back to the chocolates. Okay, this one looks really cute. It's a star and it's white chocolate, which I really love. This is a raspberry star. Ooh, I'm excited for this because I love the sweeter chocolates. Oh, this is very different than most chocolates I've ever tasted. Next, it looks like we have a dark chocolate. This is a raspberry caramel duet. Ooh, another raspberry. Oh, I think that's a dark caramel embrace. It's good. I need to start making my mind up of which ones I like the best. The next one is one of these really cute ones with a cool logo, and it's wrapped. There's actually a few of those. I love this. It looks so luxurious with a wrapper. All the dogs went crazy because a squirrel just ran over the fence. Just one after the other, because there's 3. This one's white and black. Is it? Yes? No, there's 2 separate. I eat really fast most of the time. Something I need to work on. This is a midnight swirl. Full-bodied, 85% dark chocolate. It's okay, it's kind of fresh inside, not too heavy. Good. Next one is a milk ganache bliss. It's a lot like the other, very light. Okay, it's time for another fun fact about Ayn Rand. Okay, so the second fun fact about Ayn Rand, it's related to her status in Hollywood. I'm not sure how this happened, but Gloria Swanson was interested in Ayn Rand and her work and her views, and so they talked. They ended up becoming familiar. If you don't know who Gloria Swanson is, she was a super famous actress back in the day, and if you're a younger person, you might have seen her in the movie Sunset Boulevard, which is a cult classic directed by Billy Wilder. And in this movie there's a very famous scene in which Gloria Swanson, she plays this like has-been actress, and I'm just gonna show you the clip.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
iconic scene. It's been parodied multiple times. Anyways, Gloria Swanson, she was an icon, a Hollywood icon, and she corresponded and knew Ayn Rand. So I'm just gonna read you a little bit. This is corroborated in the book Letters of Ayn Rand. I'm gonna tell you, this is a letter that Ayn Rand wrote to one of her acquaintances, and she's recounting her encounter with Gloria Swanson. It says, I have quite a few things to report to you. A few days ago, I saw Gloria Swanson and I had a nice long talk with her. She is really a splendid person. She feels as strongly about our cause as she did during the campaign. But she feels as we do, that our side is not doing enough. She said that she was not interested in another one of those preserved democracy organizations. So I was delighted to explain to her that that's precisely what we don't intend to organize, and I gave her a copy of my manifesto. Next morning, she telephoned me very early, and I can't repeat what she said about the manifesto. It would sound too much like boasting on my part. So, Gloria Swanson was a big fan of Ayn Rand and her views, I suppose. I don't have all the facts, but yeah, that's one thing to know. Let's continue with the chocolates. Ooh, this is like a Game of Thrones chocolate. This is a Lannister chocolate. See, it's called Dark Chocolate Lime of Belgium, filled with sublime butterscotch caramel. I'm excited. Pretty good. Not that special. I think this is some words in English I just can't. They torture me. Praline, crescent, praline. Anyways, it's meh. I have chip here for my water. My favorite ones to try are the ones that look fancy, like the ones that have a logo or a wrapper or some color or something. So I'm excited for this one. This one's mint. It's called a mint medallion. Medallion. Another English word that triggers me because I can't pronounce it. Anyway. Okay, let's try one more and then I'll give you another fun fact about Ayn Rand. I think this is a raspberry ganache twirl. Okay, the mint was really powerful and the taste, but let's try. This is a cool chocolate. I wouldn't say it's like great, but it's cool because of the raspberry chocolate mix. It's good. Okay, next fun fact. Okay, so this next fact is about Ayn Rand's travels. As you know, Ayn Rand originally lived in Russia and then she moved around Europe a little bit in the process of coming to the United States. But once she came to America, she didn't travel much. I think the only places she ever traveled to was Canada and Mexico. I know, she actually didn't like travel to Mexico for fun or whatever. I think she only visited Mexico once, and I got this information from a video from the Ayn Rand Institute where Jeff Branden, a former curator of the Ayn Rand archives, talks about this fact. He explains that in the 1920s, after Ayn Rand got married, she was in the process of naturalizing to the United States, to becoming legal or a resident, something like that. But she had to do paperwork, and for that paperwork to be processed, she had to exit the country and then come back in. So the closest place they could go to was Mexico. So her and her husband drove from LA to Mexico and they crossed the border to Mexicali, and apparently they spent the day there and then they came back to finish processing the paperwork. So that's it. So yeah, that's how Ayn Rand visited Mexico. I really wonder what she thought of it. Hopefully nothing too bad. She probably thought it looked like a third world compared to the United States. I don't know, but I hope she was a little bit excited to be on the other side of the border, especially since she never really traveled besides, Canada and Mexico. I think, I'm like 99% sure. Anyways, let's continue. There's still former chocolate that I must try. And this one, I'm excited for this one because, of course, it has a wrapper. And this is a cherry cordial. Oh, I love cherries. I wish it was a raspberry cordial, but it's, I'm gonna have to eat the whole thing for science. That was rich. I'm getting tired of chocolate. You think you would never get tired. I'm getting tired of it. This might be a dark caramel embrace. I think I took a huge bite. I think I need to take smaller bites because this is starting to get overwhelming. You know what I wonder? Like, okay, so Godiva chocolates were Ayn Rand's favorite candy. But out of all of the Godiva chocolates, which one was her favorite? Did she prefer dark chocolate, milk chocolate, a truffle, a raspberry one, a cherry one, caramel one? This is just a nice, simple milk praline heart. Hazelnut. This one gets a maybe. I'm putting like little red papers on the chocolates that they might end up as my top 5. Okay, the last one is a macadamia mosaic. Looks really good. This one's the most different out of all of them because it has a lot of crunchy things inside of it. And all of these were like soft or creamy or solid, but this is the only one that has crunchy things in it. Okay, I am gonna rate this, but before I do this, let me give you the last 2 fun facts about Ayn Rand. Okay, this next fun fact, it might be a little bit problematic for some people because it's about Murray Rothbard, the American economist. I'm just gonna read a little bit of his biography here before I tell you what I'm gonna be talking about. It says, Murray Rothbard was an American economist of the Australian School, economic historian, and political theorist. Rothbard was the founder and leading theoretician of anarcho-capitalism. So that's one of the things he's most famous for, advocating for anarcho-capitalism, something Ayn Rand did not agree with. But here's where it gets interesting. And this might be triggering for some people because this information, obviously I don't know if it's 100% true or whatever, but I think it's pretty believable. But the source, some people might not like it because it's from Nataniel Branden's Judgment Day. This is a book in which he speaks about his relationship with Ayn Rand, and it's a very touchy subject for a lot of objectivists and intense Ayn Rand fans. But I'm sorry, I like to read all the sources. So in this book, Nathaniel recounts that Murray, so how did she meet him? Apparently, according to Branden, Rothbard was a study of Ludwig von Mises, another famous economist, and he read Atlas Shrugged and really liked it. Rothbard really liked Atlas Shrugged and he was like super excited about it. So he wrote Ayn Rand a letter. You know, he had questions, and Ayn Rand was very impressed. He thought he was a really intelligent young man, or I don't actually know how old he was at the time, maybe he was older. And apparently in the letter he conveyed like appreciation and understanding. So eventually Ayn Rand invited him for a meeting, and they talked, and they had a lot in common, except that Rothbard did not believe that we should have a government, you know, because he was a pro-anarchism or anarcho-capitalism. It says here, I'm just gonna read you so you can get the exact facts from Branden's book. It says, during this same period, the year following Atlas publication, Ayn Rand began to receive extraordinary quantities of fan mail. One letter was from a student of Professor von Mises, a young economist named Murray Rothbard, who would one day become prominent in the libertarian movement. So apparently what Branden argues in the book is that Murray Rothbard got a lot of the ideas for his later movement from Ayn Rand, but he would deny it. Apparently he said that he got his inspiration from a very obscure obscure figure. Let me find what it is. Oh yeah, that he found the inspiration for his ideas from a scholar in the Middle Ages, an Aristotelian, but not Aristotle. And obviously, like in many instances in the objectivist libertarian movements, these two, Murray Rothbard and Ayn Rand, had a falling out, probably because Murray wouldn't credit her or wouldn't acknowledge her, and obviously he was being rude to her. Anyways, if you want more of the juicy details, it's all here in Branden's book. It's a kind of depressing book. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody unless you like gossip like me, but it's not necessary to read it. Okay, and before I tell you the final fact about Ayn Rand, which in my opinion is the most interesting, I'm going to rate these chocolates. And how am I gonna rate them? By using Atlas-Shrugged characters. So it's gonna be from okay to best. Okay, number 5. This is the Eddie Willers of chocolates. It's good, but there are better ones. It's the milk praline heart as a hazelnut praline in an exquisite milk chocolate heart. This is an all-reliable chocolate, but it's not that special. Number 5, Eddie Willers chocolate. The next one, we have the Ragnar of chocolate, the raspberry cover with white chocolate. This is fun, this is adventurous, but it's a little bit too extra, you know? Now we have the Francisco of chocolates, number 3. It is the mint chocolate covered with dark chocolate. This is the exotic chocolate when you want something different. The Francisco of chocolates. And now let's move to number 2, the Henry Riordan of chocolates. And that will be this one, a milk caramel embrace. It is really, really good. But is it perfect? Almost. And now the number 1 chocolate, the John Galt of chocolates, the ideal chocolate. And that would be this one, which is the dark ganache chocolate. 53% dark chocolate ganache in an exquisite dark chocolate heart. What makes this the ideal chocolate is just, it tastes like a brownie and also like chocolate frosting. So it's like the definition of chocolate. It's not distracting, it doesn't have a lot of distracting flavors, but it's also not just a plain milk chocolate. It's a rich, intense, but manageable chocolate. Let's put this away. And now the final fun fact. This is one of those things that haunt me, but this is another one of those facts that I got from a source that to some people it might be triggering. And I am talking about Barbara Branden's book, The Passion of Ayn Rand. If you don't know much about this, Barbara Branden was a longtime friend of Ayn Rand, but there was a lot of drama between them in their later years, and they had a falling out. You know, if you're a long-term objectivist, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like they had a falling out, but Barbara still had a lot of content that she got because when Ayn Rand and Barbara were still friends, Barbara interviewed Ayn Rand many times because she intended to write a biography about her. So all those interviews and all the time both women spent together gave fruit to this book, Barbara's book, The Passion of Ayn Rand. All right, so here's the very interesting fact about Ayn Rand. This is a story that Barbara Branden tells in the prologue. When I read it, I was like, what the fuck? And I'm gonna try to summarize it to the best of my ability. I read this maybe 5 or 7 years ago. I can't remember, but I remember the gist of it, so I'm gonna explain it. Basically, when Ayn Rand was still in Russia, she was trying to get out to come to America, but it was really, really hard to do. You needed special permissions, special paperwork, and most importantly, you needed to prove that you were not intending to leave Russia permanently, that if you were traveling, that you were intending to come back. Obviously, because the communist government didn't want their citizens spewing lies about them or just escaping the country. So anyways, Ayn Rand, with her mother's help, was going to leave Russia, and so she had to travel first out of Russia to I think she went to Latvia, and she went to the American consulate in Latvia to do her paperwork to get one of the final approvals for her to leave the country. And I'm just gonna read you what Barbara says about this, that it was shocking. Well, basically, Ayn Rand was this close to not getting permission to leaving Russia, and if that had happened, she probably would have died in Russia. She would have never written her books, and that's just mind-blowing to me. So I'm just gonna read you what it says. As the American consul questioned her, and as she desperately explained that her family was in Russia, and her friends, and her work, and her life, she noticed a card laying on the desk across from her. From time to time, the man glanced down at it. She could not see the name on it, but it had been her dossier. As she strained to read it, one phrase slipped out at her. Engaged to an American citizen. It's not true, she protested, pointing to the card and remembering the boy who had proposed marriage. Because apparently there was some guy who wanted to marry Ayn Rand, even though she was not that interested in him. And so she says, "It's a mistake. I'm not engaged to an American. There is a young man in Russia who I intend to marry when I return. He asked me to marry him. We're engaged." That was a lie. Ayn Rand was not intending to return or to marry this guy, but of course, to save her life, to be able to leave Russia, she had to tell this guy from the consul that she was engaged to a Russian, so they would believe that she was intending to come back, she wasn't plotting to leave Russia forever. So it says, the consulate looked at the card and shook his head. "Somebody did a mistake," he said. "The card has your name on it, but it's information's about someone else. It's fortunate that you noticed it. I was about to refuse you a visa. And now it's all right. I'll okay it." I mean, wow. Imagine if she hadn't noticed that, if her visa had been denied, she would have been stuck in Russia. Because apparently it took a lot of money for her to even get the process started, and her family, you know, was very low on means by this time because of all of the communism going on. So maybe she wouldn't have been able to try again. So yeah, that was it. That was the final fun fact about Ayn Rand, one of my favorite stories. I think it's true. It sounds true to me, but I can't know for sure 100%. Anyways, that was it for this video. I'm feeling very because of all the sugar, I feel sick. I'm gonna have to do some jumping jacks or just some sort of workout. Take my dog out for a run or something later when it's less hot. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that one day you get to try Ayn Rand's favorite candies. Remember that my top recommendation is the dark ganache heart. And yeah, thank you for watching. I will be posting another video next week, so stay tuned for that.